firefighters that we can't respond to these disasters alone. There's a partnership, and we want you to partner with us to ensure your life safety and our community resiliency. I can't even blame the wind, right? So next, I would like to bring to the podium and introduce John Jacoba. He's the Chief of Police at Biola Campus. So, John.
Good morning, everyone. Over the years, as a university, we have worked tirelessly to build a comprehensive earthquake preparedness plan for our campus, the community. Our plan includes conducting seismic assessment and retrofit of campus buildings, identifying roles in implementing campus emergency management teams, developing and deploying procedures and training programs, not just for our campus emergency management teams, but also for our students and our employees here on campus. We've also invested heavily in systems and resources, including communication systems, food, water, and medical supplies. But our main focus here, today is to test the program that we've built over the years, identify areas of weaknesses, and then go back, to the drawing table and try to develop strategies on how we can further improve here. As a university, we will continue to take steps to prepare for a major earthquake, because another big one is a matter of when, not if. With that, our exercise will begin in a few minutes in here. We urge everyone here, except for the media, to drop, cover and hold on once the shake alert sounds over our campus public address system. Thank you all for being here today.
LA this week.
The Great Shakeout earthquake drill comes to one college campus, the first of its kind in terms of earthquake preparedness. I'm Gil Reyes with details next.
I'm Anna Marco. City leaders are helping the Groundlings celebrate 45 years of groundbreaking laughter and entertainment in Hollywood. That's coming up.
A new door opens up to help women and children get from homelessness into housing. I'm Rasha Goel, and that story's up next.
Hey everyone, I'm Yana Kay. Here's what's happening on LA this week. When it comes to brush fires, preparation is key in saving lives. We sat down with LAFD Fire Chief Ralph Terrazas to talk about the recent fires and what we can all do to stay safe.
More and more Los Angeles residents are reminded that wildfire season isn't just a season anymore, it's all year long. And it brings with it concern, uncertainty, and the possibility of some real serious danger. But there are some steps we can all take to be better prepared. And Los Angeles Fire Chief Ralph Terrazas is here to talk about wildfires and about preparedness. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
Let's talk a little bit about the Saddle Ridge fire. Tell us the scope of it, and can you bring us up to date on what's happening?
Absolutely. Last week, it was a Thursday night about 9 o'clock, I was at home watching the news, and I saw the report of the fire, and I saw a visual from a news helicopter. When I saw that visual image, I thought we were going to lose several hundred homes because of the wind. We were able to mitigate that incident. We lost 17 homes. We saved thousands. We lost 17 homes, and the loss of one home is a big disappointment. And we're always looking to see how can we do better next time.
What more should the public know to keep us all safe?
I think the thing that I would ask there is that the public sign up for Notify LA. Text 888-777. If you want to know more specifics about what you need to do, you can go to our website at lafd.org. There you'll find information like you should trim all the tree limbs that hang above your house. You should clear the gutters from leaves and pine needles, anything that will ignite. So those tips and many more tips will be found on that website.
Well, thank you for doing a wonderful job for saving so many homes and so many lives in Los Angeles. Thank you for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm very proud of the men and women of the Los Angeles City Fire Department. I believe we're the finest fire department in the world, and I say that on a regular basis because I truly believe that. We have a great group of men and women who are dedicated professionals, dedicated to the safety of the people of Los Angeles.
Turning now to our homelessness crisis, did you know that a big portion of those living on the streets are young women between the ages of 18 to 24? Well, these young women face unique challenges, but as Rasha Goel reports, a new Bridge Home is helping them overcome those challenges and change their lives.
The Wallace House is opening its doors to 15 young women between the ages of 18 to 24 and their children who are experiencing homelessness. They now have a place to call home.
We now have 42 beds for young mothers and their children. And take it from me, my wife and I have been involved in the foster care system for almost a decade, and we know these are tough journeys for these young people who, by definition, have gone through some of the worst trauma in this city, even before facing homelessness.
For countless young women and children, for the young women transitioning out of foster care with nowhere to live, or for the young mother raising her child in a tent or in the backseat of her car, Wallace House sees you. It recognizes your struggle, and it says, welcome home.
Aviva Family and Children's Services, a nonprofit organization formerly known as Hamburger Home, will be providing support, therapeutic services, and guidance to at-risk children and families.
The Wallace House is more than just a place to live. There will be services and programs available to these young women to help transform their lives. This room that you see here is a place for women to come and pick up some clothing they may need for job interviews or perhaps even learn a new skill.
After we get done with their basic needs, a safe place to live, food on a regular basis, healthy food, and clothing, then we can start really doing the work that'll help these women launch into their adulthood. So we're going to be having parent education classes, credit recovery for high school, applications for college.
The Wallace House is a bridge home, which is part of Mayor Garcetti's plan to give homeless Angelenos in every neighborhood a refuge in the community until they can be connected with permanent housing.
This is our 8th Bridge Home site to open, keeping us on track to open 26 by July 1st of this coming year.
Single mothers experiencing homelessness face unimaginable challenges. They're responsible for themselves and their children. They are more vulnerable to crime and exploitation, but even more challenging is that many housing centers are simply not equipped to welcome them in.
A home that will hopefully provide a new beginning and new opportunities.
Officials say this recent effort by Aviva will contribute to the more than 200 units of supportive bridge housing being planned in Hollywood. Community members and city leaders in Council District 8 are taking a bite out of crime in their neighborhood thanks to a new initiative that's sparking real change.
Our children are under tremendous amounts of stress. They've been under this stress for a long, long time.
At the beginning of this summer, loss of Nipsey Hussle, there was an uptick in shootings in South Los Angeles, in the 8th District in particular. We're concerned because the summer was coming on. We did not want that to increase. So we implemented this community safety initiative to help stem the tide. We're here to celebrate because not only did it stem the tide, we actually reduced crime by a total of 15%. We had healing circles, we had safe passages, we had community events. We had gang interventionists, we had youth workers, all the things that helps to build a community and keep it safe.
Whatever's going on in the community, the gun violence, the over-policing in our community, the domestic violence, the substance abuse, and all of that. And all that stems from somewhere, and be able to have a safe space to talk about these issues in a real and holistic way, I think is truly powerful.
For us, it's bringing in new relationships, bringing in old relationships, bringing them together, knowing that together everyone achieves more, and that means team across the city.
By us having a safe passage program, it creates a safety net around our parks and our schools within our community, and it gives the folks within our community a chance to police themselves.
What could be the most prepared college campus in the event of an earthquake takes part in the largest earthquake drill in the world. More than 24 million people participated in the Great Shakeout. Gil Reyes has more.
Biola University in La Mirada could be the safest in the world in the event of an earthquake. The campus and emergency crews practice response during the Great Shakeout, a day when millions of people take part in emergency drills in preparation for the big one.
It's a big facility. We don't know how many victims were really trapped or actually hurt, so we have to go out and we do what we have to actually do. We do a search and rescue, we triage as much as we can.
Biola University is hoping to not even get to this point of injuries. They have the first system of any college in the nation to issue earthquake warnings up to a minute in advance.
The school's Shake Alert system announces incoming quakes on loudspeakers located throughout the campus, possibly giving students and staff those extra precious seconds to drop cover and hold on.
We have 6,100 students here at Biola, but it pales to a USC and a UCLA in terms of number of students on campus. Hopefully today is a day that inspires other universities, other civic leaders, state leaders to consider those kind of systems for their programs as well.
Regarding smartphone warnings, the governor announces 2 new systems now available throughout California. There's the MyShake downloadable app, also wireless emergency alerts, which provides warnings by text message. Los Angeles has its own Shake Alert LA app, but what about for information after a quake?
We need to remember that there's other ways of communication. The radio, the AM radio, the 24-hour news networks, those are very important because they're going to give you up-to-date information. Television provides a lot of information as well. So let's not get so caught up in our phones. Most likely you're not going to have Wi-Fi, you're not going to have cell connectivity.
Biola students went so far as to apply horror makeup to make their injuries and the drill seem real.
That was a cool learning experience to see what it might actually be like. So maybe if I do get in that kind of a circumstance, it's easier to think it through.
The biggest thing that was like a epiphany was just how long it takes to get through a group of like 100 people. First responders we had just making their way through the fallen debris and everything and assessing people. It was a good knowing experience if I was ever in a real emergency to be able to help myself to the best of my ability and to work with them in order to save as many lives as possible.
At home, it's also important to have a 2-week supply of water and non-perishable food ready to go. Also, an emergency preparedness kit. For other life-saving tips, log on to readyla.org. A new upgrade is in store for LA's emergency 911 dispatch center. Anna Marcos finds out how the business of saving lives is about to go more cutting edge.
911 emergency operator 230.
LA's 911 dispatch center is now in the middle of training all its 911 operators so that they stay ahead of the curve. That's because the state of California is getting ready to change to its next-gen 911 system, and LA will be ready. In fact, part of its program will go on board this month. As this on-the-job training shows, LA is indeed jumping the gun when it comes to the new cutting-edge technology.
Well, Next Gen 911 is all about being capable of getting videotape from the public, and if you're in a high-rise building, we can pinpoint what floor you're on or what room you're in. Right now, we're talking about California in November 2021. Eventually, the whole nation will be involved with this.
And sometime this month, the computerized part of the program will kick in at LA's 2 dispatch centers, one in downtown LA and one in the Valley.
We went from our flip phone, and now I think this is a smartphone. It's a smart computer.
All this while the center handles its usual workload of as many as 11,000 calls a day. 911 dispatchers not only field calls from the public, they mobilize the officers who respond.
They are lifesavers. I call it proactive dispatching.
I took a suicide call, and a gentleman wanted to take his life. And I said, was anybody with you? And he said, just me and my dog. And I asked him, well, who's going to take care of your dog when you leave? He's like, well, I didn't think about it. It was rewarding to me that I saved him and his dog.
Besides all the calls, many of the 911 dispatchers are also instructors. Miguel Estrada has a new trainee, Selena Guerrero.
What's the name of the church?
We do a lot of prompting, like if the questions, like, okay, ask her this, ask her that. Does she have any weapons?
Okay. Does she have any weapons?
I just had a shooting call, and yeah, the lady was frantic, so I wasn't able to get the information I needed from her right away. So it was trying to calm her down to get the information.
So was that a scary trial by fire kind of moment?
Yeah.
We put them through extensive training, and by extensive I mean weeks and weeks and weeks of training.
And did you know some of these dispatchers get to go to the Emmys and Oscars and other big LA events? They help with emergency calls there, well, virtually, not in person.
I'm at a separate location, so I'm not dressed in a gown.
911 is also trying online reporting for certain calls. For example, during 4th of July or New Year's Eve, you can get an app and report fireworks or loud parties online.
July the 4th, for an example, we take up to 16,000 emergency calls that day. When you're calling 911, you are tying up the system for real emergencies.
And that next real emergency could be your own. Whether dispatch operators can answer it within 15 seconds or half an hour could make all the difference.
And remember, if you have a non-life-threatening emergency, you can call the non-emergency line at 877-ASK-LAPD. That's 877-275-5273. One of the key people on the 6th Street Viaduct Replacement Project is the program manager from the city's Bureau of Engineering. Anita Bennett introduces us to a woman who's making a mark in a male-dominated field.
As construction crews work to bring the iconic 6th Street Viaduct back to life, Julie Allen works to make sure the project stays true to the design plan.
So I ensure that the project is built in accordance with the design, and we leave the city with a beautiful new viaduct when the project is complete.
Allen is program manager on what's become the largest bridge project in Los Angeles history.
What you can see going on behind me is that the contractor is building falsework, which is a temporary bridge over the viaduct structure. What they're spanning over the railroad tracks so that they can construct the actual concrete bridge on top of the temporary bridge.
Originally built in 1932, the 6th Street Viaduct connected the Arts District to Boyle Heights. But after decades of use, the viaduct started to crumble, and that prompted the city to demolish it in 2016 and begin construction on a more seismically sound structure.
But will the pump be able to reach all the way over to this knuckle? It does, but
Since the $488 million replacement project started, Allen says the city has taken great strides to increase diversity on the design team.
When I started the project, I was the only woman on the team, and as we've been filling positions and I look for the best person to fill the position, it's been a woman in many cases, so a lot of our leadership roles on the project are filled by women.
Allen graduated from UCLA with a degree in civil engineering. After 27 years with the city, she now helps recruit and mentor other women.
She's a role model to me in a way because I see how she carries herself as a female engineer in a male-dominated industry, and I look up to her, and I learn a lot from her, just how she handles herself.
Julie has been a fantastic mentor, especially to me personally. I work very closely with her every single day, and just the wealth of knowledge that she has and the leadership that she brings to the project from all her past projects, it's really empowering.
The project has created hundreds of jobs, and once it's complete, there will be a park here and more green space for this community.
We're going to be installing 12 acres of new park space that spans all the way from what you see over here on the north side of the bridge all the way to the 101 freeway. This is a very park poor community, and the viaduct structure itself was very, very beloved to the community before, and this new one is going to be an iconic structure not only for this neighborhood but for all of Los Angeles.
The project is expected to be completed in 2022. Tribal dances, drums, and entertainment took center stage as hundreds of people gathered at Graham Park to honor Native American culture and history.
Indigenous Peoples Day in Los Angeles was created on August 30th of 2017 after a nearly 2-year process. And that process began with a motion that I introduced to take a look, to do an evaluation, a study of what it would look like, or what it could look like, what the possibilities were of eliminating Columbus Day and taking a look at a way to honor Indigenous people.
Celebrating Columbus is really predicated on the mythology that he discovered a whole entire hemisphere that was already populated by millions of Indigenous peoples. And so we're here to set the record straight. Indigenous peoples have been here since the beginning of time, and we will continue to be here. We're members of beautiful, resilient tribal nations all throughout the hemisphere.
This is one indicative of what can happen, as far as history being changed. People want to stand for right. They don't want to stand for wrong. They don't want to be remembered for doing something negative, something wrong, something that was atrocity to certain families and generations and cultures.
Native American Indigenous Days is just the beginning. It's going to spread across the entire world, and it's going to be like Mardi Gras in New Orleans. It's going to be spread. The entire world is going to take place. And if everybody's going to do the same thing we're doing here.
Some relief from City Council for renters facing no-fault evictions. A new pilot program helps cool city streets, and the pedestrian bridge in Silver Lake take shape. All this in City Beat. The LA City Council unanimously adopted an emergency ordinance aimed at stopping no-fault evictions of apartment rental tenants until January 1st, when the new law that provides similar protections take effect. In Atwater Village, the steel truss superstructure of the Red Car pedestrian bridge arrived in LA this week and installed. The bridge will connect the communities of Atwater Village and Silver Lake across the LA River. Mayor Eric Garcetti has announced a pilot program that combines cool pavement with shade canopies and trees to help decrease the temperatures on streets and walkways. It's a Hollywood institution that has trained many of today's best-known comedians and funny movie stars. And now Councilmember Paul Koretz is helping the Groundlings celebrate their 45th birthday. Anna Marcos takes a look.
Try to control the weird faces.
45 years of funny stuff. And now the Groundlings Theater and School, a homegrown Hollywood landmark, is getting honored on its birthday by the city and council member Paul Koretz.
I guess it's ironic that I'm doing this because I have no sense of humor. But
I was kicked out of a serious acting class and told that all I wanted to do was make people laugh.
So you were too funny for acting.
I was told I was too funny. But when I got to the Groundlings, it's like a family. I found my funny home.
And to think these guys were just a group of actors back in 1974 who wanted to work on their craft. So they held a workshop. That turned into community performances, which led to jobs on shows like Saturday Night Live. And now the Groundlings is the go-to place when you want funny actors in Hollywood.
I don't think any of us imagined SNL would go on for 45 years. I don't think anybody
ever imagined that the Groundlings would be here after 45 years. We were just a bunch of goofballs, you know.
Since 1974, the Groundlings Theater and School has been the foremost comedy training ground in Hollywood and the springboard for countless careers, including comic geniuses from film and television.
Think Melissa McCarthy, Kristen Wiig, Lisa Kudrow, Will Ferrell, Adam Sandler, John Lovitz, just a few superstars like that. But even more than the superstars, the Groundlings have brought laughter and good times to many, even our so-called humorless council member, Paul Koretz.
I went on my second date with my wife, Gail, to the Groundlings. And we had such a great time laughing together that I think that really started a relationship that has lasted 35 years. And so I credit the Groundlings.
What is it you think makes you funny and made you
Nothing. And I interrupt people.
So you're not funny?
Not in the slightest.
And you're in the Groundlings?
Yes, I am.
How'd that happen?
I don't know. Mistakes are made constantly in life.
But this is no mistake. Being funny is serious business.
Not that I didn't have fun, but I think I truly took it as I was like, this is like my master's program. And so I took it, I think, very serious.
The Groundlings have also become a community presence with classes for the general public as well as training for corporations like Google and Disney. And does that help business?
Yes, it helps business. It helps politics, it helps business, it helps families, it helps relationships.
Yes and is the foundation of improv. When we build on each other's ideas, anything is possible.
Apparently, everything in life goes down easier with a little yes-anding and a little laughter. Happy birthday, Groundlings.
For more information on the school or the theater company, visit groundlings.com. The original farmers market at 3rd and Fairfax brought everyone together for a good old-fashioned country fair, complete with pig races and pie-eating contests.
We are having our Fall Festival. It's an event the Farmers Market has been hosting since 1934. And it's basically a county fair in the heart of a big city.
We're going on the bell this time. Listen for the bell. See, there's the bell, and here comes round number 2. Bobby Joe shoots it in that over the trouble in over no front. Are we going to see a repeat as they head over that?
Today, Bob won our first show, so he's out here at the little winner's circle doing photos.
Way down in the Bridge Mountains, way down where the tall pines grow, lives my sweetheart of the mountain. She's my little Georgia Rose. Now come in.
Right now we have the Miners on behind us, and they've been a favorite. They are here every year. We have bands throughout the weekend.
My little rose that bloomed in Georgia with a hair of gold.
I think it's great for kids. There's not a lot to do in this area with kids, and it was free, which is amazing.
It's nice to bring the kids out. They love petting the animals, and it's just a perfect Saturday to spend time with the family. Say hi.
Hi. My mom lives across the street. We came to visit her, and she told me there was an amazing fair at the Grove, so we came to walk around. What do you like the most so far that you saw?
The pig race.
All right, Judge, let's make it official. First place, second.
I grew up around animals, and I think everybody should have the opportunity to be around them. They're very special creatures. I think the reason why Farmers Market has endured for 85 years is it really is a small village in the middle of the city. You know, most of our businesses are family owned and operated. People come to Farmers Market and they feel at home. You know, LA is a big city, so it's nice when you have a place you can just call home.
Enjoy an all-access pass to multiple art venues at Graham Park, listen to some great music at a benefit concert, and help celebrate the opening of Metro's Blue Line. All this and things to do. Enjoy a pass to all things artistic throughout Grand Avenue during their all-access celebration. This annual arts event will offer workshops and activities throughout the Graham Park downtown LA area. Enjoy festivities including a scavenger hunt, a gallery talk at the Broad, or attend an LA Opera performance at the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion. There is free admission to MoCA and much more. The Grand Avenue Arts All Access drops Saturday, November 2nd. For details, visit grandavenuearts.org. Don't miss the Silver Lake Conservatory of Music's annual benefit. This highly anticipated evening is the biggest fundraiser for the conservatory, which brings dynamic music education to the people of LA. The evening will be hosted by comedian Mark Maron with musical acts including Red Hot Chili Peppers. The Silver Lake Conservatory of Music benefit happens Saturday, November 2nd, beginning at 6 p.m. Learn more at silverlakeconservatory.org. Going Blue just got more exciting. Join Metro LA for Blue Line Celebration, the latest opening of the Blue Metro A Line. The opening will be accompanied by entertainment from local performers, food, community booths, and special giveaways. So don't miss out on the Blue Line Celebration, happening Saturday, November 2nd from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at The Block, located at 750 West 7th Street. For more info, visit metro.net. And that's a look at some things to do. That's it for this edition. I'm Yana Kay. From all of us here at LA This Week, thanks for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. See you next time for more of LA This Week.
Let's protect our wildlife together. Please, no smoking in Griffith Park.
Okay, please, everyone, please take a seat. Good morning. Today is November 1st, Friday, November 1st. Welcome to City Hall. Welcome to this Los Angeles City Council meeting. Madam Clerk, we have a quorum. Would you please call the roll?
Blumenfield, Bonin, Buscaino, Cedillo, Heristasen, Weezer, Koretz, Krikorian, Lee, Martinez, O'Farrell, Price, Rodriguez, Rue, Wesson. 10 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Cedillo moves, Bonin seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Krikorian moves, Koretz seconds. That brings us where?
Mr. President, there is a request to continue item 1 to Friday, November 8th.
Okay, without objection.
Item 2 is an item noticed for public hearing.
You have cards?
Yes, there are cards on the item.
Okay, let's continue.
Items 3 through 10 are items for which public hearings have been held. There is a request from a member to hold item 5 on the desk.
Let's hold item 5 and vote on the remaining items. Please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Continue.
Item 11 is an item for which a public hearing has not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, that item is now, these items are now before this body unless there's an objection. Do you have cards?
Yes, there are cards on the item.
Okay, continue.
Mr. President, that takes council back to presentations, items called special or general public comment.
Okay, let's start with Mr. Previn. I thought I saw Mr. Previn in the back. Mr. Previn, come forward. Mr. Previn, you can speak on item 2, item 11, and general public comment, so he'll get his 2 minutes and then his general public comment. Mr. Previn, welcome.
Thank you, sir. I know you continued item 1. Is that in David Rue's district, the 96 affordable housing? That one's being 96 units of affordables being continued. Is that right? Okay. So item number 2 is a little cooperation between David Rue and Mitch O'Farrell, and what you've got is an old medical building at 6520 West Sunset. And a little pharmacy. And this is a TEFRA hearing or TEFRA-like hearing to get, the loans squared away. And I appreciate it. Also today on the agenda you've got, and it's nice to see the folks from City Attorney down here to get their $724,000 for it's kind of a vertical prosecution, sir. This is where folks who, after you give the liquor license in the neighborhood, which you do all the time, people go out driving around
Previn, you're
drunk.
not speaking on the agenda items.
Okay, Mr. Previn, let's just slide back to the items. Go ahead,
I'm
sir.
happy to slide back down, but is that not an item on your agenda?
In fact, hold his time for a minute. Hold his time for a minute. The audio. Can we, let's try it again, Mr. Previn. The audio just did not seem clear. But
how does the picture look? Can you see me in a visible
Mr.
format
Previn,
like the others?
Okay, now give him his time. Back on the item.
Give him
Go
the
ahead.
time. You can hear me now, sir? And can you see me as well? Do I look the same size as,
Get on the item, Mr. Previn.
Okay, fair enough, sir. I want to thank LA Family Housing for being willing to accept the $810,000 swap out loan and also $314 for Jewish Family Services. And thank you, sir, because you brought them down here just the other day on Wednesday for a big hoopla, and now there they are.
Let's
right
get
in front
back
of
on the item.
What's that, sir? Stay on the, yeah, thank you, sir. Can you see me clearly, or do I look too small?
Okay, let's give Mr. Previn his 1 minute.
Sir, I know, you're running for county supervisor, and I've always appreciated your tenacity. But I got to say, if you think that the people in LA County, there's 11 million, are going to not notice, for example, that the people who come to City Hall are routinely disenfranchised and, reduced to the size of kind of a little, there's a little Blumenfield, hashtag Blumenfield's nose. There's a famous photograph, sir, where you see a member of the public standing right next to the size of Mr. Blumenfield's nose in miniature. Because the problem is that you make it seem like this is perfectly natural, even as the whole world looks at testimony at Congress and other places where the people who are testifying appear in a format that's visible. But you, sir, I don't understand. Is a Vanessa Rodriguez telling the truth over at Jewel kind of a routine? Are we supposed to just go along because you're such a handsome guy? But, sir, it's wrong. It's dead wrong, and it's been wrong for years. You know it's wrong. I don't know why the LA Times and the others don't bring it up, like nobody notices, but people have started to notice, sir. So I'm asking you to change.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Mr. O'Farrell? Mr. O'Farrell, if he's ready, let's begin the presentation portion. Mr. Koretz? Mr. Koretz?
All right, man. Oh, sorry about that.
Good morning, colleagues, friends, guests, and we welcome everyone to American Indian Heritage Month at Los Angeles City Hall 2019, Strength Through Unity. I want to officially welcome everyone, and joining today in this procession that you just saw, Phil Hale, and who just did our drumming for us. Thank you so much. The Los Angeles City County Native American Indian Commission, Chief Anthony Morales of the Gabrielino Tongva, our special 2019 honorees, the NAM Gallery exhibit artists, and various tribal leaders and representatives of indigenous cultures here in Southern California. As a Los Angeles City Council member and member of the Wyandot Nation, let me first acknowledge the Gabrielino Tongva, whose ancestral land in this very spot is where Los Angeles and our Civic Center were built. Secondly, I'd like to recognize our Los Angeles City County Native American Indian Commission for their work in organizing this presentation. Please give them a round of applause. And lastly, I'd like to recognize our honorees, whom you'll hear from in a moment. They are Randy Reinholtz, Omerline Thompson, and Saginaw Grant. These are challenging and yet promising times for Indigenous people and Native America at the local and national level. Here in Los Angeles, we now celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day on the second Monday of October instead of Columbus Day. Last year, after close collaboration with the community, the City County Commission, and the Office of County Supervisor Hilda Solis, we brought down the Columbus statue across the street at Grand Park. It's hard to imagine that for over 40 years, a statue honoring a perpetrator of genocide against Native people across the Americas literally stood upon a pedestal overlooking Tongva land. Well, it is there no more. We are part of a much larger community with growing numbers of people, native and non-native, across the United States who are equipped with the facts of history, knowledge of the suffering of our tribal ancestors, understanding the burden and the lingering consequences of centuries of violence and erasure of cultures that thrived for thousands of years. And we possess an invincible determination to bring the kind of change that will result in healing, justice, and equality among all who are blessed with life and a conscience by our Creator. This greater awareness serves to elevate the importance of focusing attention and resources on Native Americans that will help lift Native people out of existing conditions among all demographic groups that include the following: the highest percentages of clinical depression, the lowest graduation rates for high schoolers, the highest rates of diabetes and poverty, the highest rates of assaults, especially of Native American women, the highest rate of infant mortality, the lowest of all life expectancies, and this list goes on and on and on. As cities and states across the country enact changes that honor First Peoples and remove the false narratives taught to generations of young people, we can make real progress in fortifying the spirit of our youth and restoring hope to Native Americans everywhere that all that has been lost will not be forgotten, but quite the opposite. There will be a renewed appreciation for Native American culture, spirituality, and a history that everyone can benefit from, and that is what we celebrate today. Thank you. I am especially honored to be able to shine the Council spotlight on the cultures and traditions of the rich Native American community in the Los Angeles area, home to the largest Native American population of any county in the United States. Our following honorees truly embody this year's theme of strength through the spirit of creativity, community, and tradition. Today, we will honor a community activist and two fiercely talented Native American visionary artists. Our first honoree, Randy Reinholz of the Choctaw Nation from Oklahoma. Randy Reinholz's work as the co-founder and artistic director of Native Voices at the Autry, as a professional director, playwright, and professor at San Diego State University, has changed the American theater by giving prominence of place and voice to Indigenous artists. Founded in 1994, Native Voices at the Autry is the nation's only equity theater company devoted exclusively to developing and producing new work of Native American, Alaska Native, Native Hawaiian, and First Nations playwrights. Let's hear it for Actors Equity. Numerous Native theater artists have remarked on the importance of Randy's mentorship of them as young directors, actors, and writers. Each marveled that their act of reaching out was met by Randy generously welcoming them onto projects and into the Los Angeles theater community. Randy is admired for showing up for people no matter their career on stage, with one prominent Native actor calling him a bastion of support, commenting that to this day, he remains a constant source of wisdom and guidance, and I'm not a special case. Through his manifold and ongoing contributions, he is a vanguard leader of Indigenous theater. He's so busy that unfortunately he couldn't even be here today. this morning because he'll be opening up a play, and it's called Art Calls. To accept the Spirit of Creativity Award, we have Tonantzin Carmelo, a Screen Actors Guild Award-nominated actress and a member of the Native Voices of the Autry Artists Ensemble. So please, Tonantzin, step right up. Sorry about that.
Meiha, Wishkoneha. I'm very honored to be here on behalf of Randy Reinholds, who was very instrumental in establishing or helping me with my career as well. So he could not be here today because he is producing a play in San Diego. So his artistry is emanating out from Los Angeles, which has been our base for 25 years, out to San Diego now, where they are also producing plays by Native American playwrights. We're very happy about that. But as always, for the last 25 years, Randy asked me to acknowledge the Gabrielino Tongva, which is my tribe as well, as the original caretakers of the land, and also thank Councilmember O'Farrell and all the council members here, as well as the very hard work of the Native American Commission in their part in making a home for Native artists such as ourselves here in Los Angeles. So with that, I would like to say that we have our Native Play Festival coming up November 9th and 10th at the Autry, which is hosted every single year. And this year's the theme is Bingo, Bones, and Blackjack for short plays. So we would like to welcome you all to come as well. Thank you.
That sounds great. We're going to present with a cert, I think. Yes. Okay. Thank you so much, Tonantzin. And this is a certificate for Randy. Please give him our very best, and we will see you all at the Autry.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Our next honoree, Omerline A. Thompson from the Gila River and Choctaw Nations. Omerline A. Thompson is an enrolled member of the Akimel O'odham, Gila River, and Choctaw Nations. From early on in her career, it was clear to Omerline that her purpose in life was to help the Native community. While growing up in Los Angeles, she took courses in social work at Cal State LA. In 1977, she moved to Oakland for 4 years and worked with 2 Native programs, along with Urban Indian Child Resource Center's youth department. In 1981, she returned to Los Angeles, where she participated in the Adult Work Experience program with Indian Center's paralegal program as an office assistant, and later as a counselor providing social services to the Native community. At this time, during her training, Omerline was informed of an opening at United American Indian Involvement, or UAII, where she has been employed for the last 36 years. Omerline always felt that helping families in need was her greatest inspiration for committing herself to serve the American Indian community on Skid Row in downtown LA. She's proud to say that her greatest accomplishment has been serving multiple generations of families and seeing those she has helped become successful in school and in work. In 2014, she helped build an important relationship between UAII and her Gila River Indian community, in which the executive office and various departments, such as enrollment, per capita, elections, social services, and education, perform yearly visits from Arizona, providing a connection for urban tribal members living in Los Angeles. Omerline believes the wisdom and the community leaders that we need are already present in our communities. And to accept the award for the Spirit of Community Award is Omerline Thompson herself.
Shumkaich. My name is Joseph Quintana. I'm the Development Director, United American Indian Involvement. I'm also Mayor appointed to the LA City County Native American Indian Commission. It is my great honor to speak on the words on behalf of Omerline Thompson on her invitation. We want to thank all of the council members here present today. We also want to thank all of our supporters and advocates all across LA City and all across the county as well. I just want to share very briefly working on Skid Row where Omerline started. It's not easy. It's difficult. It's hard work. You know, for American Indian communities, especially since relocation termination programs ended, there's been a lot of dark. But it's at the time of night's darkness that light shines through. And that can be in the form of stars. And I really think that one of those stars is Omerline. I think that she has been a guiding light for many of us and many of our community members, being able to assist with making sure our folks have access to sobriety care and treatment, making sure that one less person is kept off the streets and has access to shelter or has access to food, especially for our young families. And she continues that work 36 years in. And she truly is an inspiration to me and to over the 100 employees within our organization. And we can't thank Omerline enough for her dedication and service and commitment to the American Indian public here in Los Angeles. Thank you, Omerline, for everything you have done for United American Indian Involvement and to the entire American Indian community all across LA. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joseph, for those wonderful words. As you can tell, Omerline is a woman of many actions, but very few words. And isn't that wonderful? No wonder she's so incredibly successful. Congratulations. Our third honoree is Saginaw Grant. Saginaw is the hereditary chief and a respected member of the Sac and Fox, Iowa, and Otoe, Missouri nations. In 1936, Saginaw Morgan Grant was born to Sarah and Austin Grant Sr. at Pawnee Indian Hospital in Pawnee, Oklahoma. He was raised on a farm in Cushing, Oklahoma, with 2 brothers and 1 sister. Having a traditional upbringing by both parents, Saginaw was especially influenced by his grandparents, and his grandfather, Curvin, was a strong medicine man, and his other grandfather, Saginaw, whom he is named after, was also a very spiritual man. They taught Saginaw their customs, culture, and traditions, and the importance of their way of life. As a result, Saginaw witnessed many special ceremonies and events taught to very few. During his life in Oklahoma, he took on employment in various industries, such as dry cleaning, also gaining a better understanding of the Bureau of Indian Affairs and other vocations in which he enjoyed interacting with people. This gave him the opportunity to learn about different philosophies, beliefs, and religions. He resides in the Southern California area where he is called upon for counseling, lectures, and family events, while also pursuing his acting career. And you have seen that face in many television and film shows and films. His latest short film is Beautiful Dead Things, perfect for Halloween that just passed yesterday, that has already won several awards at various film festivals. To accept the Spirit of Tradition Award, we're going to bring up Commissioner Joseph Quintana again to talk a little bit about Saginaw Grant's amazing achievements.
Hello again. Aho kamen wepama tepena. That's in my grandfather's or grandmother's language, who's Sac and Fox Indian from Oklahoma. And it was interesting as I came out here over 4 years ago to learn that Saginaw had come from Oklahoma in a similar place where my grandmother grew up. You know, LA has the moniker that it's a place of dreams, and that comes from Hollywood. For American Indians, it hasn't always been a dream for us. It's been a continuation of stereotypes for American Indian people. It's hard to see ourselves up in the big screen, a place that forever changes all across this nation, all across the world, their perception of the people that they see on that screen. It's beneficial for our young people to see somebody who's similar to them, to be successful, to act in roles that otherwise were taken away from us, especially during times of the great westerns that started cinema. One of our own, Saginaw Grant, has contributed to the art of Los Angeles, and I hope that he is forever known for his contributions of changing stereotypes and giving access to young actors or young directors or young producers who are American Indian who felt that they had barriers to achieving those same successes, especially within Hollywood. So it is a great honor today to thank you all for this great recognition of one of our own, Saginaw Grant. And like our other honorees, I hope that their names are always remembered for their contributions to Los Angeles, not just to the American Indian community. Thank you all.
Colleagues, as I mentioned a little earlier about Indigenous Peoples Day, well, just last month we had a tremendous follow-up to our first Indigenous Peoples Day, our second one, and we have a little clip prepared for you that encapsulates that wonderful evening last month, our second annual Indigenous Peoples Day, Los Angeles. Indigenous Peoples Day in Los Angeles was created on August 30th of 2017 after a nearly 2-year process. And that process began with a motion that I introduced to take a look, to do an evaluation, a study of what it would look like, or what it could look like, what the possibilities were of eliminating Columbus Day and taking a look at a way to honor Indigenous people.
Celebrating Columbus is really predicated on the mythology that he discovered a whole entire hemisphere that was already populated by millions of Indigenous peoples. And so we're here to set the record straight. Indigenous peoples have been here since the beginning of time, and we will continue to be here. We're members of beautiful, resilient tribal nations all throughout the hemisphere.
This is one indicative of what can happen, as far as history being changed. People want to stand for right. They don't want to stand for wrong. They don't want to be remembered for doing something negative, something wrong, something that was atrocity to certain families and generations and cultures.
Native American Indigenous Days is just the beginning. It's going to spread across the entire world, and it's going to be like Mardi Gras in New Orleans. It's going to be spread. Our entire world is going to take place. And everybody's going to do the same thing we're doing here.
Thank you so much, LA Week, for putting that together. Now, Indigenous Peoples Day 2019 would not have been possible without the partnership of our Los Angeles City County Native American Indian Commission. In fact, the creation of the day would not have been possible without that partnership, allies, and advocates across the city. So let's give the commission one more round of applause after I introduce its chairperson, Chrissy Castro.
Good morning, I'm Chrissy Castro. I'm a citizen of the Navajo Nation. I'm Nakayadzane, or Mexican clan, born for Hanagani, or the one who walks around clan. And I want to thank Chief Anthony Morales, Andrew Morales, and Mark Villaseñor for leading our procession and opening us up in such a beautiful way. I'd also like to recognize that LA City rests on the traditional and unceded territories of Tongva, Tataviam, and Chumash peoples. And on behalf of the Commission, I would like to thank the City Council for your partnership and for making Indigenous Peoples Day a reality for the City of Los Angeles. As a community, we've been building off that historic win and using that energy and momentum to continue to create change in our community. Shortly after you made the change, the LA County Board of Supervisors followed suit. And a year later, we took down the racist statue in Grant Park, and we have been working on replacing it with indigenous art that seeks to uplift and tell the true narrative of these lands and our peoples. We passed a resolution at the County Board of Supervisors recently on solving the housing and homelessness crisis that is disproportionately impacting our communities. We are working to transform Indigenous education in LA, which is so critical because our educational systems are failing our students. We are working to make sure that Native peoples are not invisible and are counted next year in the census. Our community so critically counts on those numbers for resources and programming. We are working deeply on community organization to build and use community power to change the policies and systems that have impacted our communities negatively for too long. And two last notes of celebration. This Indigenous Peoples Day, Governor Newsom proclaimed Indigenous Peoples Day for the entire state of California. So we thank you for your leadership, LA City, because the rest of the state is following your lead. And we are also going to be working on legislation at the state level to make sure that that Indigenous Peoples Day celebration is official permanently. The next note of celebration is you may have read that in Northern California, we're celebrating the city of Eureka, transferring land back to the Wayot tribe. And I would like to say that let that be a model for us in the city of Los Angeles and all cities across the state about what true racial healing and reconciliation looks like. It looks like giving Native nations their unceded territories back. So we thank you for your leadership and partnership, and we look forward to continuing to work with you to ensure the city's First Peoples have the dignity and justice that they deserve. Thank you.
So again, I'd like to acknowledge all the partners, including the commission that Christy is the chairperson of, the Los Angeles Department of Cultural Affairs, who did this wonderful 2019 guide. I'd like to thank Pat Vegas of Redbone and PJ Vegas. You saw Pat in the video clip. Andrew Maciel, chair of Pechanga Development Corporation. And Andrew, I saw he's right here. Thank you. Welcome. And then the Native American Heritage Month Gallery artist. Right behind. Please step forward. And I'd like you to tell us a little bit about your art.
Okay. Good morning. I'm Dawn Jackson, Saginaw, Chippewa from Michigan. I also curated the Bridge Gallery, and we wanted to represent different tribes, different expressions. Not all of them have to be about our native life, but it's our creative expression. So I'll have each artist explain their work. Thank you.
I'm Claudia Brentwood, Ojibwe. I belong to White Earth Indian Reservation, and I am bringing the spirit of the Native American to everyone, not only my tribe, and I thank you very much.
I'm Marie Cheatham, Muskogee Creek, Choctaw from Oklahoma, now living in Tujunga. And I'm a potter, like many of my mothers and mothers and mothers and mothers were, and my platters are in the bridge.
Hakuhilpo, my name is Evelyn Lozano, and I'm from the Tejon Indian tribe. And my photography is of a grandmother's hands who taught her daughter and taught her granddaughter how to weave baskets. So that's what you'll see is the two sets of hands plus a piece of work that I did myself, which they taught me and carrying our traditions on. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, my name is Chris Aguirre from El Paso, Texas, Apache, Chiricahua. And the drawing I did out there is titled Blessings. Eagle feather and red-tailed hawk coming together with sage. And it's an honor to be here. and I'm very happy to be here with everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Nadia Reed. My tribe is Chinook and Lower Chehalis from Washington State. I live in Los Angeles. My family's from there. My work is a blend of a lot of abstractions and traditional work. I paint a lot of the fish and waterfalls and landscape up there, but also dancers. And you can see my art there. I am very honored to be here. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you. All right. So thank you. The Bridge Gallery is open. Please enjoy it. When you see this beautiful Native American art, pay close attention to that feeling it gives you in your heart, because that means something. Native Americans, I think, through art expression, really helps the entire world understand how precious the earth is, and how we need to come together and we need to learn from past cultures on how to treat the earth, Mother Earth, respectfully and with dignity. And that lesson has never, ever been more important than now, with this irreversible climate change we are about to venture into. Now's the time to hear and learn and appreciate all the traditions of Native and ancient peoples, because that may be our only salvation. So with that, I want to just welcome everyone to the 2019 Native American Heritage Month, and I'll present the certificate to Chrissy Castro and the commission members that are with us today. Thank you so much. And for everyone, there will be a Tongva blessing by Chief Morales and his son Andrew following council. So everyone is invited to attend that very important ceremony. And with that, we thank you.
Thank you, Mr. O'Farrell, for your presentation. And we appreciate the Gabrielino Tongva tribe hosting this presentation on their land, and our City Hall as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Hey, good to see you. Good to see you too. Yeah, we're going to go that way.
All right, next we'll go to item number 11.
And for the record, Mr. President, amending motion 5A has been posted and circulated for council's consideration.
Thank you. And we'll begin with public comment on this item. We will start with Arnold Sachs, and then to be followed by Nick Borrow and Percy Dickinson. Any of those individuals present? If not, Alma Ramirez, Lynn Moses. Should be working. It's on.
I couldn't hear which items you were calling.
This is item number 11. No, this is mine.
Oh, I didn't want to speak on that one. I didn't want to speak on that one, sorry.
Thank you. Alma Ramirez, Mike Greenspan, Mr. Herman, Wayne Spindler, please start his time since he's already testifying from the...
All right. So we had a little fire thing. And of course, on Native American Day, you have to understand that the Getty Fire was a traditional religious function that was done. They set that fire to burn all the Jews and the sinners out of all those rich homes up there at Mountain Gate, didn't they? Yes, sir. This is the revenge of the Native Americans, Crestwood Hills, Mountain Gate, Mandeville Canyon, for the sinner Jew motherfuckers that live in all those nice homes while the rest of the Native Americans remain homeless, poverty-stricken, and on drugs. And that's why I think maybe Jose Huizar wants to set a fire. That's why the FBI needs to indict that cocksucker. Thank you.
Next, Mr. Herman. Mr. Herman, are you present?
Fellow Americans, never in this hopeless critical time in the history regarding this declaration of local emergency am I so disturbed by the mayor of Los Angeles, for the record, Eric Garcetti, loser. The Getty Fire is a traumatic, harmful issue in our community. With thousands of jobs needed for African Americans and minorities such as myself, we have no way of making a clearance or maintenance of these issues. And we would take back all this brush. We would not to this day see these fires destroy our homes, our communities. How dare you, Erica?
If we could vote on item number 11, please open the roll, close the roll, and tally the vote.
12 ayes.
That item passes. Next, item number 2. Okay, first Arnold Sachs, Nick Borough, Alma Ramirez, Lynn Moses, all of whom I believe are not in the room, Mike Greenspan, Mr. Herman, Mr. Spindler. Mr. Spindler, once again, please start his time as he's testifying from the aisle. You're not on the item, Mr. Spindler.
See, 1/8 Cherokee Indian right here. See, it's in my blood. Now.
You're still off topic. One more warning and we'll have to ask you to leave.
I gotta ask my bodyguard Gil to stop this shit. Number 2, okay. So number 2, we got ourselves the fake Native American O'Farrell, the dog-eating murderer David Rue, and the big bad fat Contnery Martinez trying to get $75 million for some goddamn pharmacy. If you want drugs, you don't have to go to $75 million pharmacy. You just buy the crack and CD13.
Thank you,
That's all
Mr.
you got.
Spindler. Thank you. Your time is up. Thank you, Mr. Spindler. Mr. Herman. Please start the clock.
Yes, please start the clock.
Actually, Mr. President, I'd like to request that Mr.
For the
Herman
rec-
actually turn the flash off for his camera.
Mr. Herman, could you turn that flash off?
Please.
You're blinding us with your light there. Thank you.
Racism, no resolution by Rue O'Farrell. To this day, even I, the gadfly of the United States Medical Office building in West Sunset Boulevard, Kaiser, for the record, Dr. Gonzalez, my PhD, we're not going to waive the City of Los Angeles multifamily bond policy. We're not going to hold tax equality and finance responsibility because this fucking city is so corrupted, abusive, and harmful. Thank you.
Thank you, Garfield Stephen, Mike Greenspan, Lynn Moses, Alma Ramirez, Nick Borrow. None of them, I believe, are here. No speakers on the queue, so let's call the roll on this. Please open the roll, close the roll, and tally the vote.
11 ayes.
That item passes. Item number 5. Speakers on that, Mr. Spindler, Lynn Moses, and Mr. Herman.
As the speaker makes his way forward, that amending motion again has been posted and circulated for council's consideration.
Housing report. LAHSA, well-known discriminatory growth of council's affordable housing, LAHSA, and sustainable communities. Let us ask Ben Carson. Let us reach out to Maxine Waters, who commissions housing, HUD, Section 8, and anything that is required under Housing Committee's report. Just the same as we heard regarding Katie Hill.
You're
Can't
off
fuck her
topic,
Manning.
Mr. Herman. You're off topic. Katie Hill is not a
Let me
relevant
reconnect,
topic.
sir. Yes, a time to authorize a physical impact statement on behalf of the President of the United States. Fuck you.
Mr. Spindler.
That's right. What do we have here? H cocksucker IDLA. Is that it again?
You're off topic.
HCIDLA. Is that number 5?
Now you're back on topic.
Number 5? Are we on number 5? Yes,
Go on.
we are. That's right. I know. I know you haven't had your third lunch yet today. So, we have round number 5. What happened on the first 4 rounds? Well, that's very interesting. I'm glad you asked. And Gil Cedillo's been trying to get this money into his district, but that fake fucking Indian faggot Mitchell Farrell's been getting it first. Now, why? Why? When will the attacks begin? But that's why Gil Cedillo, go over there and kick that fake Indian's ass out of here and on the street.
Thank you, Mr.
His real
Spindler.
name's
Your time is up. Thank you. Your time is up. Thank you. Lynn Moses, Garfield Stephen.
I see you, good morning, sorry.
Good morning. Please state your name for the record.
Len Moses, thank
Thank
you. You continued item number 1. Number 5, first, all glory and honor to my Native American brothers and sisters. Thank you for celebrating them. All glory and honor to my wife, Janine. I have some documents. I was told could I do that? Pass out?
And the documents are for item number 5? This is only item number 5.
It's regarding Marquise Dawson's criminality. And
No,
this,
that's off topic on item number 5.
yeah.
You can come back
is-
when we take general public comment.
His criminality is not a topic.
Not on topic.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Nick Borrow, Eric Previn, to be followed by Arnold Sachs. Oh, I know.
Thank you, sir. It's Eric Previn from CD2. Now, when you do these amendments, so this is the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. And what this is a NOFA. Projects that meet one of the primary selection criteria will receive greater preference. Now, the city's homeless, hang on for a second, the HHH. Sir, this is not coherent, unfortunately, so you're going to have to do a little better job at amending this is just simply incoherent. We've tried. I know what the Affordable Housing and Sustainable Communities Program is. The way that AVOC has, with Krikorian and Cedillo, have listed this, it's impenetrable, sir. So I would suggest that you re-agendize it properly in a format that's coherent and understandable. And sir, by the way, I just want to say to you, I noted the declaration of emergency. Yeah.
Sorry, your time is up. Thank you, though, but your time is up. Your time is up. Your time is still up. Mr. Sachs, to be
thank you.
followed by Garfield Stephen, if he is here. I don't believe he's here.
Yes, thank you. Good morning. Arnold Sachs for the record. So I'm believing as I read this, this is RENA. This is from SCAG, isn't this? This is the Regional Housing Plan. But it doesn't mention anything about how to affordably build these affordable houses or where to find companies that are willing to build affordable housing. It's the cost of the property. And isn't Jan Perry the head of the HCIDLA? Didn't she used to sit on the city council? Well, yeah. And look at all the work she did in her district to bring affordable housing. Well, she didn't really do a lot of work, but she made a lot of money. So what exactly? Oh, yeah, and part of this is RENA. If you put affordable housing in a plan, then you're golden. What you don't have to do is tell how you're going to build the affordable housing. That's the dream.
So there being no speakers on the queue, let's open the roll on this item, close the roll, and tally the vote.
11 ayes.
And that was the item as amended. All right, let's go to general public comment. David Darwish. to be followed by Arnold Sachs.
Hi, good morning. This is for Mitch O'Farrell. I've been here before. I spoke to Marisol from your office. No help, basically get lost. No empathy. I need utilities in my home. For you, the black asphalt in the street is more important than life. You know, Mr. O'Farrell, you talk big, but no action. Your office is mistreating elderly and disabled people. I think you should do your job. And last, homelessness. Why don't the city go and buy an apartment building on the market? Is a lot of empty apartment building and solve the problem now. I don't think you want to solve the problem. I think you like that problem because it gives you agenda and you can pull money, but you don't want to solve it. And last, Mr. O'Farrell, I'm not happy with you.
Yes, thank you. Good morning again, Arnold Sachs for the record. And I certainly appreciate that presentation this morning, Mr. O'Farrell, about Columbus Day. But he wasn't the leader of the genocide here. That was the English and the French and Germans. But what's interesting is, have you ever thought about getting some, the people money for the land that was taken by the city, the founders of Los Angeles? The Indians in Manhattan in New York, I said Manhattan Beach, they got $24 in shells or whatever the hell they got from the people that came to kill them. What did the people in California, you know, there's a fort over here that was built by the Mormons, and then part of the inscription says, through water and power. Well, the power they're talking about wasn't electricity. It was beating the crap out of the people that lived here. You get any money from them?
Our next speaker is Percy Dickinson. Not here, I presume. Jacqueline Richardson. To be followed by Alma Ramirez and Jerry Hops.
Yesterday on Channel 5, they showed pictures of homes burning. It was in another county. The fire department was in about more than one place, so these people in their homes, they took it upon themselves to put out their own fires if they could. Channel 5 said some people saved their own homes. They didn't say what they did, nor did they show pictures of the people putting out the fires. I assume they took a water hose, and they put it up above their house as high as they could, about where those lights are, and just waved it all over for maybe for half an hour. Let the mist of the fire, the mist that would bring the fire, would put out the fire if it was kind of light. Well, anyway, they saved some of their homes, and that's the more important than anything. They saved other homes, but the water bill was probably real high. But the most important thing was that their home was saved. Some of those homes were saved.
Thank you. Alma Ramirez, apparently not here. Jerry Hops, apparently not here as well. Khadijah Connor.
Come as frequently as I can to be a voice for the Afiba Center in Los Angeles. I'm trying to understand how city council meetings are held. I am pleased with those of you city council people who are here and listen to some of the comments from the press. I'm a retired probation officer. I live in the city of Carson now, but I come to the Afiba Center because of the programs that they have. I am very, very disheartened, and I don't know if this goes on record, but the council person, Harris Dawson for District 8, He's never here, and if he is here, the last time I spoke, he wasn't even sitting at his seat. I wanted to tell him I heard him on KJLH, and he told flagrant lies, and he won't even face us. I don't think he's ever been to the Afiba Center. Again, I compliment those of you who listen, because every culture needs to have a place to meet, and this is not asking too much. There's so many buildings in District 8 that he could utilize, but to continuously attack the Afiba Center and waste your time is senseless. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Lynn Moses, not here. Dan Gus.
He's a coward. He's never here.
And again, please state your name. And
Lynn Moses, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry.
I thought the other item was continued. Once
so this
again,
is general public comment.
Yeah. Once again, I passed out those documents documenting this body, the City Council of Homelessness and Shame, on both September and both August and September of last year. You allocated to Marquise Dawson to basically steal almost $700,000 for 2 office moves. One, he deliberately tried to get $308,000 trying to move into the EDD office for himself, while the place is in litigation, the state office, unemployment office. At the same time, trying to evict the FIBA Center. At the same time, Dorset Village, evicting 206 households. That's Dawson. And you people are
thank you. Your time is up. Thank you. Your time is up. Your time is up. And before we take the next speaker, if we could have item 9 and item 11 go forthwith without objection.
Council members, especially Mr. Koretz, there has been a pig rescuer who's been trying to save 2 pigs in your shelters and has not received a response from Animal Services. I don't know how many people are trying to beat down your door to rescue 2 pigs, but that's what the Animal Welfare Trust is for, which is being used for travel and lodging and meals. And if the city doesn't want to help these pig rescuers who have tons of experience, because I know them, I'll be glad to write a column and tell people why they should not contribute their assets when they pass away to the Animal Welfare Trust Fund. Mr. Koretz, you were on those emails, not one response, let alone assistance for these people. Again, I don't know how many people are beating down your door to rescue pigs, but this should be addressed real fast. Also, Mr. Wesson has been accused by the Times of fixing a deal for his son, and he has called it a hit piece. If you are aware of this, lawmakers, you are responsible for confronting the issue and getting the truth out. If you don't, you're culpable. Thank you.
Thank you. Devon Williams. Devon Williams, if you're present, come on up.
Oh, it starts when I talk, right?
Yes, it's your turn.
All right. Okay. So I'm pretty nervous. My first time here. So I want to talk about item 11 regarding the fire at the Getty Center. So the first thing I want to address is that there are about 2,150 prison inmates in California who are authorized for fighting the wildfires. But after they go through training and they have all the legitimacy to be a firefighter, they aren't qualified due to their past history. Yeah, so I'm willing to help and create a law or something to, help those inmates out. And my CD people aren't currently here, which is 8, 9, and 10, which is Herb Weston, Current Price, and Marquise Dawson, because I'm from their city. Yeah, I'm from their city council neighborhood, and thank you for your time and listening to me.
Thank you. And just for the record, internally in the city of Los Angeles, we have a program called Targeted Local Hire, where we higher populations that find it difficult to get jobs, like the homeless and previously incarcerated. And I would encourage the state to go down that same path, and I think you make a very valid point. Please
Hi,
state
I
your
signed
name.
up first today, and I don't know why I have not been called.
What's your name?
B. Darwish.
Let me see if you're on here. No, you're not on, but feel free to speak. Please state your name for the record.
This comment is for Mr. O'Farrell. You look very nice today, Mr. O'Farrell, because you have utilities. I wonder how you would look if you had no utilities.
Please address the council as a whole.
Anyways, I need utilities, and I'm not waiting a year, okay? And now I have a comment from Mr. Rue. I saw your article about getting rid of the Ellis Act. Do you know the housing department, those rotten, filthy creatures, they created the Ellis Act because property owners were being decimated, and the only alternative was the Ellis Act. So when I saw that article that you wrote in the local newspaper, I was disgusted. You're not a business person, you've never owned apartment units, and you've never been brutalized by that filthy housing department.
Tanya Edwards? Nick Borrow? Ms. Edwards, I presume?
Good afternoon. Well, good morning. I'm here to cry out for the FIBA Center because I'm wondering why you guys don't see that the prostitution on Figueroa is looking like the Red District in Canada. And we have an FIBA Center that will help these young women stay off the street, especially Black American young women. And you guys are trying to tear it down and take it from us by removing the very person, which is Jabari, who started the program with a white woman who kept it open, just for our Black kids not to fall in the hands of the streets and not to have to go and sell their bodies for an income. And you guys are allowing it right down the street from 77th Division. Where is Marquise and where is Weston? Where are they? Why aren't they here? We're here to talk to them, and they're not here to listen, just like O'Farrell. He has had his head down the whole time. God bless America.
Next speaker, one more time, Nick Borrow. Don't believe he's here. Jabari Jumaine. To be followed by Denise Woods.
Greetings, Council. My name is Jabari Jumani. I am the director of the FIBA Center here in Los Angeles. We have, as many of you all have heard over the past few weeks, if not months, received an unjustified eviction notice from our dear councilman, Marquise Harris Dawson. It is incumbent upon all of us to do what we can to rectify this situation. I have heard that evil triumphs when people of goodwill say nothing. That's why you've seen these people come here in front of you for the past few weeks, and we will continue to come until this is rectified. We will be entering a court scenario pretty soon where some things might come out that don't need to. We are open to, at any point, pushing the reset on this and having Marquise actually come out and visit the people he's trying to evict. He has never been inside the center. This is retaliation for speaking out against gentrification. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Denise Woods. I'm here this morning to speak about several entities that are on Crenshaw Boulevard that we're concerned about as a community. One being the EDD office. Someone has spoke about it before. That EDD office we worked hard to have that office on Crenshaw. It was the only one for Los Angeles, and for it to have been closed now for 2 years is just totally unacceptable. The gentleman that needs to be hearing this, that's in his district, is not here right now, but we're going to go ahead and move forward to say that we're going to keep coming until something is done about this EDD office. People needed it to get their jobs, to do their resumes, to look up, to have job resources. It's a viable entity in our community, along with on Crenshaw. The FIBA Center is under attack. We've lost the Urban League through foreclosure. I mean, the list goes on. And at the end of the day, the majority of the black businesses have been decimated behind this Metro Rail, and there was just no thought process put to it. So anyway, I'm going to make it short with that, but I just want that on the record. Crenshaw Boulevard has to be revitalized. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Hall. I assume that's perhaps a made-up name. Next speaker is Mr. Herman, to be followed by Mr. Spindler.
Fellow Angelinos, no person may be denied the benefits or be unlawfully subject to discrimination under any program or activity, either funded directly or assisted financially by the state. Government Code, Section 11135. Public facilities and other public places, Civic Code 54. A violation of the ADA will be included as a violation of this section. In my hand are my 3 petitions, one for large print and the other regarding LAHSA, discrimination on housing and urban development. I shall bring the reign of the Department of the United States upon this institution. Discrimination, retaliation, harassment, and all those TROs you subjected me to harm. God bless Trump.
Mr. Herman, your time has expired. Mr. Spindler.
Where is that bloodsucker Marquise Harris Dodson? Bloodsucker, where are you, Marquise? Buck, 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 buck. Buck, 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 buck. Buck, 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 buck. Your name is on the queue, fool. So wherever you're hiding, you just know that the people are surrounding you. You turn off your voicemail. You don't take voicemail anymore. Call 213-473-7008 and ask for the jackass that is evicting the Afiba Center when one phone call could stop it. You fucking traitor, you. Finally, I hear Herb Wesson has a problem, but now you, Mr. Koretz, have a problem. How much are you paying in discounts on that rent-controlled apartment? I want to know, fool. Answer me.
Your time is up, Mr. Spindler. All right, you're disrupting the meeting. Still disrupting the meeting. Mike Greenspan, last speaker. Don't believe he is here. So we will close general public comment. Madam Clerk, what's before us?
Council has motions for posting and referral.
Those are posted and referred. Any announcements?
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, so this weekend we are holding the annual El Día de los Muertos celebration in Pacoima. We'd like to invite everyone to come join us. We have La Sonora Dinamita, we've got These Handsome Devils, a number of tribute bands, a local banda, folklorico group, but a lot of wonderful art and cultural history to be preserved and activated on the streets of Pacoima. So we want to invite you all out to be a part of that this weekend. Tomorrow starting from 12 till 9 p.m. and then on Sunday 12 to 6.
Thank you. Any other announcements? Mr. Blumenfield?
In Dia de los Muertos vein, we are also doing a big Dia celebration in the West Valley on Sherman Way all day tomorrow from basically 9 until 5. Come out. It's going to be a lot of fun. Second announcement, if you live in the West Valley and you have a lot of papers that you've been meaning to shred for privacy reasons and you just haven't gotten around to doing it, come by my office from 10 to 3 tomorrow. We have a free shredding event. It's called Shred It. You bring whatever private papers you have. There's a giant machine. You get to see it all get shredded in front of you, and it's a great way to help with private security.
Thank you. And Mr. Spindler is still disrupting the meeting. Please have him removed. We'll wait before we begin adjournments in the memory. Any other announcements? None, but thank you. I get an increase every single year.
Mr. Spindler, you've been ordered removed.
But please remove Mr. Spindler.
Mr. Spindler, you've been ordered to remove yourself quietly.
Mr. Spindler is still not departing. He's continuing to disrupt the meeting. All right, we'll begin the adjournments. I'm looking to my right, Mr. Rue. Oh, Mr. Cedillo, you have an announcement.
Yes, we also have a Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos, at 23rd and Hoover. That takes place tomorrow from 4 to 10. We have Sonora Dinamita with Vilma, and we have other bands, face painting, food, music. The streets will be closed at 23rd and Hoover. It's a big gathering from 4 to 10. We're working on the border with Mr. Harris Dawson. So the street is the street that divides our two districts. And so both of us are working together at that intersection, and it'll be closed, and it'll be a collaborative event, and it'll be an incredible evening for everyone who comes and joins us.
Thank you, Mr. Cedillo. Any other announcements? If not, Mr. Rue for an adjournment.
Thank you, Mr. President and colleagues. I'd like to adjourn today's meeting in the memory of Tony Stewart. And we are joined by Monica, his wife, Andy, his brother and business partner, and many friends and family of Tony's. And Tony was born in Pasadena on December 9th, 1958. Tony grew up in Los Feliz, attended Los Feliz Elementary, King Middle School, and graduated from Marshall High School in 1977. He was a Felician through and through, working at Griffith Observatory from 1979 to 1982, and in later years blasting the Beach Boys from his '69 Mustang, and serving as president of the LA chapter of the California Rare Fruit Growers Association. Tony and his family were best known for their family business, which is almost 100 years old now, and that is R.O. Stewart Plumbing, which is still located on Western Avenue. The business started in the 1920s and stayed in the family, with Tony completing his journeyman certification in 1979 and taking over the business with his brother Andy in 1985. Tony and Andy carpooled to the store every morning for more than 40 years. That same year, Tony married the love of his life, Monica Rose Potter. Together, they had two daughters, Jamie and Veronica. And Tony was an avid gardener, known for growing rare fruits like dragon fruit and Australian finger limes, and sometimes eating fresh fruit on a neighbor's doorstep. Tony loved making people laugh, volunteering at William S. Hart High School, but most of all, he loved his family and spending time on a bike ride or playing board games. He is survived by his wife, Monica Stewart, his daughters, Jamie Rose and Veronica May, his siblings, Greg Stewart, Diana Wise, and Andy Stewart, and his nieces and nephews, Lindsay, Allie, Haley, Bo, Christian, and Katie. In lieu of flowers, his family welcomes donations to William S. Hart High School Photography Department in his honor. May he rest in peace.
Thank you, Mr. Rue, and our condolences to his friends and family. I'm still looking to my right. Mr. Krikorian.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kretz. I'd like to ask that the City Council adjourn this meeting in memory of Hagop Manjikian, who was here with us just a few years ago when I honored him at our commemoration of the Armenian Genocide, when he stood at that podium, and we honored him for his lifetime of work in working towards genocide recognition. The book that he'd published summarizing his own family's account and the research that he'd done in summarizing the accounts of so many other genocide survivors and freedom fighters for the Armenian people. He was also one of the people responsible, one of the founders of the Armenian Genocide Monument in Montebello, which many of you have visited on April 24th each year. That monument exists in large measure because of the work and leadership of Hagop Manjikian, and it's appropriate that we recognize his passing on the very week that the House of Representatives finally took its historic vote to recognize the Armenian Genocide. Hagop Manjikian was the founding chairman of the Armenian National Committee Western Region. He was a founding board member of the Hamaskayin Cultural Association in California, founding board member of the Homenetmen Athletic Union in California, a board member of Holy Martyrs Farahian High School in the 3rd District, and was chairman of the Armenian Genocide Commemorative Committee for the 50th and 60th anniversaries of the genocide. He was one of those in our community who worked constantly, relentlessly, and without desire for recognition. But it's especially appropriate, I think, on his passing that we recognize his lifetime of work and not only what that meant for the Armenian community, but for everyone who cares about stopping man's inhumanity to man and who cares about justice. May Hagop Manjikian rest in peace.
Thank you, Mr. Krikorian. I'm now looking to my left. Not seeing anything. One more look to my right. Oh.
I'm
Mr.
here today,
Cedillo.
sir. I think it's incumbent upon this body to close in memory of an incredible civil rights leader, a giant in the pursuit of justice in this nation. John Conyers passed away this Sunday, and it's an incredible loss for his district, his state, and our nation. He served 50 years in the U.S. Congress. He was an attorney, a Vietnam War vet. He has the 6th longest serving term in the history of the United States Congress. And he was a founder of the Congressional Black Caucus. He passed away this past Sunday with his family. He will be buried on the 4th. He's left by his wife, Monica Esters, and his children. He was a great champion for civil rights. I got to participate in a lot of meetings with him with the Rainbow Coalition and Jesse Jackson. And he was just an incredible, thoughtful, strategic man, a leader in so many ways. And this nation is at a loss for losing him.
Thank you, Mr. Cedillo. Seeing no other adjournments, we are adjourned.